Hello and welcome to Flooring Models Kit Review time. Today we've got Zvezda's latest release. This is the 172nd SU-57 5th generation fighter. Now they did the T50, which I think was like the prototype version of this one, and now obviously we've got the fully operational SU-57, which is, I suppose, if you want to draw a comparison-isk before everyone jumps on me, it's basically like the Raptor or the F-22. It's air-to-air, air-to-ground, 5th generation stealth job, as you can imagine. So I must admit, very nice box art with this very nice camo pattern, which I imagine is not a decal, but we'll find out for that in a moment. Anyway, as you can see, lovely little bit of box art, as we just said, down in there. Okay, running around on the box. Colour call outs, looks like we get some nice decals. Yeah, probably no little ones down in there for that one. You got your thing on this one, so it is 30 centimetres. It's quite a large lump, all right. Then we've got the one just down in here. Sorry, get it the right way around. There it is. £24, available from the PM store as always, and some bit on the back down in there as well. So there we go. SU-57 5th generation fighter, multi-purpose from Sukhoi, maiden flight January 29th 2010, and then entered service now 2019. And it is a licensed product as well, as we're seeing a lot with these days. So being Zvezda, it means you need a degree in something to be able to get in the box. So it is sealed. I haven't seen in here as always, so we'll just try and get in. So you have to say their boxes are very good, because it's a box within a box, and as always I can't get in it. This is where you it does it to me with every single review, I swear. So we have to get both sides out, and then that's how we do it. It's the only way I can actually do it. It seems a shame having to cut in the box, but there we go. Let's pop this in, just like that. There we go, it's in. Very nice. So again, it makes for a nice strong box at the end of the day, and at least it's not a flappy open thing. Right, there we go. So we've actually got quite a full box down in here. Quite nice. We've got a standing figure and a seated one. We've got one bag there. It looks like the more fuselage bits, but you can see there's a lot to this. Don't just think this is an empty shell and then there's nothing in here, because as you can probably tell, quite frankly, there's a lot going on. So usual probably health and safety type sheets. We've got a decal sheet, and as always we'll start with the instructions. Zvezda, classic sort of pull out one. So as you can see over here, we've got obviously your trees and your various things down in there just like that, and then over here it's not exactly the most high-tech one, but as you can see we've got seat going together, we've got intakes, and then obviously we've got nozzles down at the back end, and then we've actually got the cockpit tub. As you imagine, being 5th generation, there's probably not a lot going on there because it's all giant TV screens. We've got a pilot figure going in, very nice to see. We've got a posable hand as well, so at least it doesn't have him on his lap. Okay, and then obviously a bit much like all the sort of 5th generation stuff these days, it's just a case of the cockpit going into that upper fuselage section. Down in the lower fuselage, you're going to be opening up some holes as well, and if you want to pop a stand in it, there's a slot down in there for that one. Wheel wells, which are obviously encasing the actual intake trunks as well, being fitted down in there. Those intakes as well being fitted in. Down on the back end, we've actually got the nozzles with like an afterburner ring in there. Those ones are being fitted in there just like that. Again, I'm not totally sure if these are going to be 100% posable, but they may be a little bit. Obviously, this thing does have a vector thrust system down in there just like that. Working our way on the top, obviously we've got the control surfaces all going together. We've got some of the canopy and the gear, and then over on here we're just sandwiching together both halves of those all important fuselage halves, and then tail planes and horizontal fins being put in there, and then we've got the verticals, these sort of inner slab ones on the front being fitted in, cockpit glass work going in, as you can imagine, just on that. And then on the back side, we've got wheel wells, obviously open or closed. Again, nice little touch if you did want to go in flight. So you have got the option down in there. Weapons fit going down in there as well. So we've got the big missiles as well as the smaller air-to-air missiles in there like that. Then we've got a boarding ladder, and then we've got a stood pilot as well next to it. Very nice. And I assume this is probably going to be an optional extra. We've got a stand if you wanted to put it down in there. Stencils, numerous by its nature. Being a modern aircraft, obviously you get a lot more than you do on the other ones. So you've got that just down like that. Okay, so we've got the colour call out sheet for it, so we can see the the decals, which we've got there. Okay, as you can see, some nice stuff on there. As you can imagine, this is going to be a mask job if you wanted to put that camo onto it. It's not actually a decal to go down on the top, so a little bit of work down in there. Colour call outs, you've got them down in here in Tamiya as well, making it a little bit easier. Okay, and on the other side you've got this sort of darker scheme with it as well. Alright, so you could do both of those. Decals themselves, okay, Zvezda's normal one, they tend to be very nice, quite thin, as you can see down on here, no problem at all. It doesn't look like generic blurby writing. You see there's plenty of nice ones on amongst sheets. It's not like these are all individuals, but you've got some nice decals down into that one, some nice metal ones as well right the way through, so that's actually very nice. Okay, for a change we're just going to pop in this little bag, purely because I want to see what's in it. Okay, with a little pilot figure. So to make it a little bit different, clear parts. You can probably see, actually they're not too bad at all. That's pretty clear. Little finger behind it, trying to see your fingerprints, always a clue. Not too shabby at all on that one, so they're very nice indeed. Let's pop them safely in there. Then we got the pilot figures, which are a little bit generic, shall we say, but I think the actual seated pilot looks pretty good down in there, actually. I have to say that looks quite nice. Very nice indeed. A little bit of flash on them, a little bit of clean up required, but apart from that, you're good to go. But it's nice as a, I think, a nice little optional extra, shall we say. Okay, so that's to get the fuselage tires. So big old crinkly bags. Okay, top half of the fuselage, as you can see. Doesn't look too bad actually, that looks pretty good. Catch it in the light, you can see. Very nice surface detail on this one. Again, Zvezda tend to do this almost, I don't know, it's very reminiscent to me anyway of sort of Itali's, that sort of textured plastic they do. Unfortunately, just looking at this, it looks like the panel lining here on the top is just a little bit faint. It's not as sharp and as crisp as you'd like, it's just these ones on here. I don't know how well the camera catches it there. You can sort of see it, probably a little bit different with the glare, but yeah, generally, being 5th generation, they don't have hundreds of panel lines. We know it's composite materials and things like that on these, so you know that's really what we've got. But generally, pretty nice indeed. On the inside, nice polished, machine tool, no problem with that at all. Okay. On the underside, when you're looking at it under here, again, you can see a good idea of the access panels this one's got. Seems to be a little bit crisper, if we're honest, underneath here. And then we've got these internal weapons bays, front and rear, okay, with the actual 57. Very nice. Not a lot of details you can imagine going down in there in the nose wheel, but the thing you have to imagine and appreciate, this is actually 72nd scale. It is a huge aircraft, very, very large aircraft. Okay, so in the next bag, just offload that. Get into it. So, if we start with the big ones first, I'll work our way back. Okay, so again, very nice. Looking at it, a couple of things stand out to me is literally the way that the sprue tabs are very, very small, very delicate onto this one. We got no, the way they've done this as well with the ejector pins, so we've got no ejector pins inside intake trunkings and things like that, which is a nice touch. So all of these parts, when you're looking around onto it, as you can see, are very, very nice indeed. No problem with that whatsoever. And then on this side, as you can see, there is some very, very nice details on this one. But again, it's just the fineness of the actual sprue tabs going onto this. Very, very delicately done. Nice detail on the gear. All of the areas down here, even on the reverse side for the actual intakes, again, we've got no ejector pins in there, so that's fine. You've got the detail for the gear well on these. And then again, looking, we've got no ejector pins in any of the doors and things like that as well, so that's quite a nice touch. No problems at all, so that's looking very nice. Okay, we've got two of these. So this is one, so we've got the sort of nozzles and fans and afterburner rings down in here. And again, very delicately done, very nicely done indeed. The weapons, say those external fuel tanks, actually not too bad at all. The nozzles, particularly nice, they're really, really sharp. That's like a saw bit. They're actually pretty good indeed, so quite like those. So we've got a match pair with both of those. And then we've got a match pair for these as well for the missiles. And again, two halves going together, sandwiching them in there. Pretty nice deal. We've got the first little bit of flash, weirdly enough, just down in here. Haven't seen any on the rest of the build. Got a tiny bit there. Okay, so that's actually not too bad at all. Very, very nice. Again, the thing is, I know a lot of people say how obviously modern aircraft like the Raptor, the F-35, and now we've got the SU-57, they're not very inspiring because they're very flat and there's not a lot of things going on. But again, you could put fuel tanks onto this one, you know, liven it up with a little bit of weathering, a nice camo scheme, something nice like that, and you've got a very smart looking aircraft indeed. It's really nice to see that these ones have come along now, so obviously we've got the 5th generation ones with the Russians to go along with obviously the Western ones as well, so you can have your model kits as a direct comparison between them. But it looks very, very nice. Shame about some of the panel lining detail, I think, on the spine on there. That's my only sort of query with this one. It's a little bit wayward and, you know, a bit of feathers off to nothing in some areas, whereas obviously the underside is crisp and no problems whatsoever. Anyway, there we go. That is the SU-57 5th generation Russian fighter by Zvezda.